Hi everybody. My name is Jerry Wise, and I'm a life and relationship coach. And I've been helping people for 40 years with self-differentiation. I hope you'll subscribe to this channel. Press subscribe. Click the button so you get all the new videos that come out. And also, if you join as a member for $1.99 a month, you can help support these free videos. I also have a workshop coming up on February 6th, Getting Your Family of Origin Out of You. That's on Saturday, February 6, 2021. This video is entitled, How to Stop Absorbing the Feelings of Others. First of all, I want to mention some false beliefs. There are 3 false beliefs that I believe also keep us very much in the absorption of the feelings of others. And we have to learn to unbelieve these. We have to learn to accept the reality that these are false. One is, I am powerless over how I feel. That's not true. You're not powerless over how you feel. And we're going to talk about more of that today. Secondly, other people's feelings are more important than mine. And I am responsible for their feelings. And then thirdly, I can control what others think of me, feel about me, and how they treat me. Those are all false beliefs. And in fact, you can read more about those in Margaret Paul's book, Inner Bonding. She talks about those false beliefs that are very important to learn about. For example, if I often feel guilty, this does not mean I cannot change this feeling. Just because I often feel guilty doesn't mean I can't change it or I have no power over my feelings. One way is to ask, well, if I didn't feel guilty, what would I do? What would happen? How would I act? How would I be different in the relationship? And if we fantasize about that, then we can begin to live that no guilt life. Even if our feelings may betray us and we have some feelings of guilt, we still go, wait a minute, but this is what I would be doing. And often that which you would be doing would be the adult you and the adult self without that inner child, often very old history of feeling guilty. Another thing I've done to try to help is I will try to really reinforce the feeling of guilty. If I feel guilty, how can I make myself feel more guilty? Because if I feel more guilty, sometimes it loosens up the feeling of guilt. So we can kind of push the symptom or push the problem. And then we go, well, gosh, it's hard to feel guilty it's hard to feel more guilty. And the guilt starts to dissolve. Thirdly, asking someone, getting a third opinion. Would you feel guilty in this situation? Let me describe it to you, and then ask someone, and then they go, well, no, I wouldn't feel guilty at all. And that can begin to change how we see our behavior, our choices, and possibly even to feel less guilty. And we can do that with many feelings. Second of all, remember the tennis net. I think of relationships as a tennis game. They are on one side of the net, I'm on the other side of the net. I want to focus on my play, not on their play. Focus on my side of the tennis net, my functioning, not theirs. And oftentimes in relationships, we play both sides of the net. And we're worried about, well, how can I make them play differently or play better? Or be nicer to me, or not have the feelings that they have. We must stay on our side of the tennis net, which we're responsible for. We ask them to stay on their side of the tennis net and let them deal with their feelings, behaviors, beliefs, assumptions. That's for them to deal with. That immediately begins to promote a feeling of detachment. We then begin to detach from what they're doing, which is what we want to do. And again, imagine they're on one side of the tennis net, I'm on the other. They play their game over there. I play my game in the relationship over on my side of the net. And be the tennis player who focuses on how he or she plays his or her game, not responsible for their game. And I think that that can make a big difference in feeling empowered, because you have more power about what goes on your side of the tennis net. You have almost no power about what goes on the other side of the tennis net. When interacting with people, try to focus on you and on your functioning, not theirs. When we have feelings, we want to label those feelings and give feelings a word. And that's not easy for many people to do. They often, when I ask them, well, what are you feeling? They'll tell me a thought. Well, I feel they're judging me. Well, that's not a feeling, that's a thought. I believe they are judging me. Then I will ask them, when you feel judged, what do you feel? Or when you think you're being judged, what do you feel? And then we want to go lower and find out what our feelings are and give them a name. I feel abandoned, rejected, worthless. I might have lots of feelings if somebody's judging me. Shame. Then I can put a name to those feelings. And that's one of the ways we can begin to change our feelings, by naming them. And many who grew up in adult children of narcissistic homes, adult children, or in alcoholic homes, we have been taught to not think, not feel, and not talk. And now as adults, we're going to give ourselves permission to talk, feel, think, because we can give ourselves that permission, even if we learned that we should not. We have the powers as adults to begin to do that differently. Thirdly, stop over-empathizing. And again, we don't want to absorb other people's feelings, and that often happens when we empathize. And I've not found empathy to be a really big, helpful tool in the box of human interaction. It's not that I'm against empathy, because I'm not. I am for compassion, for empathy, even healthy sympathy. But often we've learned to over-empathize, and that over-empathizing, we then absorb the feelings of other people. Empathy is often anxiety in disguise. Empathy without self-consideration or self-awareness and a sense of self ends up being over-empathizing. When we are absorbing the feelings and sensitivities of another, which often is what happens with empathy, it's actually a dysfunctional part of the relationship. And again, I'm not saying people should not have compassion, but again, we tend to often, if we've grown up in dysfunctional families, we've learned to over-empathize with other people. And we will often say, I'm feeling their feelings, when actually you're feeling your feelings and calling it empathy. Just like I think empathy, when people become empathetic, I wonder what anxiety has been triggered in them that they feel empathetic. What's the anxiety that has been triggered in you? Because we don't want to absorb the feelings of others in relationship systems. Fourthly, make your self-awareness priority over the other's self-awareness and sensitivities. For you are in the driver's seat for your life. What is your self-awareness rather than what is their self-awareness? Focus on yourself and your awareness when interacting. Oftentimes when we interact with other people, or when it becomes conflictual or tense or a disagreement, we are thinking and feeling about what they are thinking and feeling about. And we do it almost unconsciously. And we want to begin to stop that process, that I'm not going to be thinking about what they're thinking and thinking about what they're feeling. As a good codependent and a recovering codependent, I always knew what other people were thinking and feeling. I just didn't know what I was thinking and feeling. And so I needed to shift that back around and stop making them the focus and focus on my own awareness. When a brother is feeling hurt and is upset about you not doing something that he wants you to do, we then absorb his feelings of upsetness, hurt, anger, and we are trying to figure out what he's thinking, what he's feeling, rather than what we think and what we feel. I saw a Facebook post and someone wrote, "Stay away from people who think you are arguing every time you try to express yourself." Because what happens is when you express yourself and someone takes that as an argument with them, which happens so often in dysfunctional families, when you express yourself, then they take that as an attack or an argument, when really you're just expressing yourself. You're not trying to argue with them, you're stating facts about you. And when we do that, and when we are overly concerned about what they're thinking or feeling, we're absorbing their thoughts and feelings. And we don't want to absorb those. Fifthly, stay as calm and neutral as possible. Calmness is a force field against absorbing the feelings of others. And that's a very important point. And as I had in a video that I would recommend you watch, it's a long video, but it's a good video about anxiety, calmness. It's entitled "Calmness is Everything." Because if we stay calm, it really does protect us from absorbing the feelings of others. When you are reactive and upset, you may see this as a red flag, that you're absorbing the feelings of others. When you're getting reactive, when you're not staying calm, remember you're absorbing other people's feelings or the system's feelings. Sixthly, remember, worrying is fusion. Worrying is often an enmeshment state and keeps others' feelings and experiences at work in us. Worry is an emotional state which again has a lot to do with enmeshment, and it keeps those feelings at work. Worrying doesn't really help anyone. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help the other person. It doesn't help the person that you're worrying about. Many people will use prayer. Many people use other means by which they can shift out of that worrying state. Because again, worrying doesn't help anybody, nor does it help you. It doesn't fix the situation. Thinking about worrying in this way, I think, can help us detach. Because worrying has a way of absorbing the feelings of others and the experiences of others. Seventh, we can ask these kinds of questions. If I did not worry, or did not care as much, or I was more neutral, what bad would happen? And I've asked people that before. If I took away your worry and waved a magic wand and you didn't worry anymore, what bad would happen? If someone's in the hospital, they have heart trouble, and they've had difficulty, may have to go to surgery, me worrying about it doesn't improve their chances. It doesn't help the doctor do a better job. It doesn't help the patient recover more. It doesn't help my friend to feel better. It just makes me worrying about it. And often many times can be a detriment to them and me. Now, what would happen if we didn't worry? Then we have these other fears. Well, then I would be unloving. Then I would be uncaring. Then I would be unspiritual, or not Muslim enough, or not Christian enough, or not Jewish enough, or whatever the spirituality that you have. But worry does not equal compassion. It equals fusion and absorbing of others. That's what worrying is. And if we don't do it, it doesn't mean we don't care. I can still care without worrying. I can still have compassion without worrying. So remember, worry state, just like parents will get into a worrying state about their children. I have a child. I understand how parents can worry. I understand how everybody can worry. But I also know how futile and how unproductive it is to worry. Worrying about your kids more will not help the situation. Often worrying adds dynamics to the family system that actually creates more problems than more solutions. Eighth, be curious rather than reactive. I'll give you an example. A husband comes home and asks his wife, he seems a little irritated or upset, "What do you do all day?" Implying that the wife does not work as hard as he does. The wife may become reactive. Could be just the other way around. The wife comes home, complains about the husband becomes reactive. But actually, the husband had already started being reactive, which prompted his statement. He was already in a reactive state, prompts his statement, "Well, what do you do all day?" And then she may say in a reactive way, "I hate it when you call me lazy." He was reactive. I just absorb his reactivity. Then I throw reactivity back. And I like to be curious about others' negative or critical comments. I don't want to buy into their conclusions. Because if I'm buying into their conclusions, I'm also buying into their feelings. So don't jump to the conclusions of others. Don't jump to the reactivity of others. And we can learn to say, and again, it's not that I don't understand what the husband is saying. I may say, I know Bob well enough. I know what he's thinking and feeling. However, I want to stay on my side of the tennis net. Bob, I don't understand your comment. Stay curious, stay calm, rather than assuming and jumping. I may know what he's trying to say, but I want him to explain and defend it, rather than me being defensive, angry, and reactive. And I challenge them by my curiosity for them to defend their statement, belief, conclusion, and assumptions. That's why I want to challenge them by going, I don't know what you mean. Well, Bob, what do you mean that you wonder what I'm doing all day? What is that about? And again, I want to find out, why are you pinged, Bob, rather than accepting the feeling state and the statement, and then I become reactive. Now we got a big problem. And we still may not sort out or figure out what's going on, what's really going on. So rather than jumping to conclusions, I jump to my curiosity and go, well, that's a strange statement to make. I'm doing what I've always done every day. I work hard every day. I clean this, I do that. I watch the kids. What do you mean you wonder what I'm doing all day? What's going on with you, Bob? Now I want him to focus on his self-awareness rather than me absorbing his reactivity. And I don't ever try to defend myself based on their beliefs. This, again, is jumping to their conclusions. I remember as a pastor, when I was pastoring, and I had a couple that had problems, and there were some rumors that they had started, and others maybe too, that I had not been treating them right. I wouldn't say hi to them when they said hi. I was being rejecting of them in some way, and I didn't even know, I wasn't aware of that at all. And so others who are more friendly to me would come and say, why are you treating them, this way? And again, that's like Bob coming home and saying, what are you doing all day? So they're coming to me and saying, well, why are you treating them in this fashion? And again, I wanted at first to defend myself. Well, I've never done that. That's not even true. I don't even know why they'd say that. Well, that's them coming with their anxiety and reactive from the system. I then get reactive and I bark back. I like to not defend myself if I don't agree with their conclusions. And I would say, what do you mean that I don't say hi to them? That makes no sense to me. I don't know what you mean. Do you know me to be a person like that? Is that what you believe I do with them? Well, they said you did. Well, but do you believe I'm a person who does that? Because if I try to defend myself, I then look more guilty. And I look like those conclusions should have greater value or importance. They're not more important and they shouldn't be given more value. And I don't want to do that. So I don't want to absorb this couple's anxiety going to this couple who then comes to me and brings me both those anxieties, and now I'm being anxious back. No, I'll say, well, you'll have to decide for yourself. And I told them, I said, well, you'll have to decide. Well, we weren't there. Right. I know you weren't, but you'll have to decide whether that's true or not. Because what they're saying, I wasn't there for either. I never didn't say hi to them. That never happened. So I can't put myself in a situation that never happened. And they're wanting me to try to defend why that didn't happen. Well, it's very hard to defend a negative. I didn't do that negative. I didn't do that. And I don't want to be defending myself about irrational conclusions or beliefs or lies. I don't want to defend myself. You'll just have to decide whether those things are true or not. Because I'm not choosing to defend myself, I will become more reactive. And I will absorb the anxiety from everyone and all the feelings into me. And then I will become reactive, defensive, angry, start acting weird, and then I look more guilty. I look like I might do that, but I know I did not. So I want to come with a greater confidence. I hope today has been helpful to you for me to talk about not absorbing the feelings of others. Please join this channel, subscribe to this channel, join and come to the workshop on February 6th. It's going to be on getting the family of origin out of you. February 6, 2021. There's going to be training, role plays, Q&A. We're going to host it on Zoom. You can sign up at the website. And I appreciate you listening today. Have a great day and be wise.